It is time to touch our bags and drop our sacks on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. It is mailbag time. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. You got questions? You're in luck because I got answers. I've already seen what you guys are asking about some potential trades like Antonio Gibson, Zaven Collins, just to name a few. We'll answer all of those questions coming up here on today's show. Let's begin with Tony. Tony, you're in the mailbag this week. Hashtag Chiefs. Tyler, decide, Sky Moore, which other cut candidate do you want to see the Chiefs cut in August? Okay, so we're all on the same page. We want Sky Moore out of here. Okay. Let me say this before I make any enemies, because I know people really like this guy, and I like him too. But I think Carson Steele has got to go. The fumbling issue was not great last year, and I think they've upgraded the running back position with drafting Brashard Smith as well as bringing in Elijah Mitchell from San Francisco. I think both those guys are better than Carson Steele. I think that the Chiefs are not going to carry more than 4 running backs on the roster. I think that Carson Steele is the odd man out. That doesn't mean that he has to completely go bye-bye. He could potentially be on the practice squad, and if there's an injury, get that call up, and I would be fine with that. But that would be the name. I think Carson Steele is probably gone, as well as Sky Moore on that front. Thanks for the question, Tony. Paul is saying Isaiah Pacheco, 900 yards. Well, we talked about this week, that Isaiah Pacheco, if he's 100% healthy, that he can be a top 5 running back in this league. We've seen it with our own eyes. So him staying healthy is objective number one. But then getting back to his old self. And one of the things he's talked about is that with the fibula injury, he lost some weight. He didn't feel like his old self. And now he's put that weight back on. He's been eating better. He's been taking care of the little things. I think all signs point to, especially with the offensive line improved, that Isaiah Pacheco can have a big year in 2025. And I don't think him having over 1,000 yards is out of the question, Paul. Jeff writes in, will the Chiefs finish better than 11-6? Hell yeah, they will. If they're finishing 11-6, then I'm saying to myself, okay, guess we're playing a wild card game then. We've seen them win a Super Bowl with an 11-6 season, so that doesn't mean it's the end of the world if they finish 11-6, but it doesn't necessarily make you feel great heading into the postseason. That would, in all likelihood, mean a road game or two in the divisional round or the AFC Championship. But I think this is a 14-win football team. And do I think they're the best team in the AFC? Absolutely I do. I think they're going to win a home field advantage and be a 14-3 football team this year. And the reason why I even have them taking 3 L's is because the competition has gotten better. I mean, that schedule is not easy. Going to Brazil to take on the Chargers, playing 2 Thursday night games. On top of that, too, like, you still got to face, the Bills on the road. You got to take on Philadelphia early in the season. You can't win them all. There will be some losses. I think 14-3 is a realistic expectation for the Chiefs. Folks, want to make sure you're subscribed to the Kansas City Chiefs Report, but not just subscribe, but you also have your notifications turned on. Stay in the loop with everything happening with your Kansas City Chiefs and be a part of what we call the Noti Gang around here. Those are the ones that have their notifications turned on. They're the first to know when we have new content here on the channel from our daily news and rumors, our live shows, our Q&A mailbags, where we answer your questions live right here on the show each and every Tuesday. Maybe it's breaking news. Might be a random Wednesday night at midnight, Chiefs make a trade, and I get out of bed, head to my in-home studio in the Jones Zone, and we bring you a video reacting to it instantly on the channel. We are built different around here. So I want to make sure you're subscribed and you have your notifications turned on. If you're part of that Noti Gang, spam Noti Gang in the comment section. Subscribe now. Turn on notifications. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV. Colt Mahomes writes in, should Kansas City consider trading for Antonio Gibson? Antonio Gibson of the New England Patriots, former Washington Commanders running back. Had that great season in 2021 where he rushed for over 1,000 yards and had 7 touchdowns, but hasn't really been the same guy since. Although his yards per carry was the highest in that 4-year stretch last season with 4.5 yards per carry. Only had 1 touchdown, though, with 538 yards. And he was behind just an awful offensive line in New England as well. But this kind of goes back to another topic as a whole that people are pointing to when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs. There is a belief among many, especially in the national media, that this running back room is not good enough, that Pacheco isn't going to be the same player again, that Kareem Hunt is too old, and that Brashard Smith is not ready. And I'm just not buying into that narrative. I think that the Chiefs running back room is just fine, that they can get the job done with the pieces that they have. Now, folks, here's the deal. We're going to have the answer to this question, I think, pretty quickly when it comes to this running back situation. If it is not good enough, players of Antonio Gibson's caliber are going to be available at the trade deadline. Or if you need to go sign somebody in free agency, whatever, I would test and see what you got first and then potentially make a move for a running back if you need. But I'm very confident that Isaiah Pacheco is going to have a bounce-back year and lead this team in rushing, and you won't need to worry about a guy like Antonio Gibson anyway. So I say no. Should the Chiefs trade for Antonio Gibson? It is our pinned comment today. You got 2 options here. Type T for trade, P for pass. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. Garden Gnome says, do we have enough salary cap left to re-sign Trey Smith? Where there's a Veach, there's a way. The salary cap doesn't look great, but, that is with Trey Smith included on the franchise tag. It's the years ahead. What you'll likely do, I think if you're Brett Veach, is that you play Smith on the franchise tag this year. And the extension that he would eventually get goes into the years that follow to come. And we expect the salary cap to keep on jumping up, and it will be well over $300 million in no time. So do I know exactly what the numbers will be? No. In fact, nobody does. Nobody knows for certain what the salary cap is going to be next year. But we do know it will go up a bit. Yes, there is money. Trey Smith will get taken care of, and he's not going anywhere. Jen writes in, what about a trade for Zaven Collins? Zaven Collins, I know Zaven Collins fairly well. He played for the University of Tulsa. I was at a golf event with him, actually, last year in Phoenix. Very good guy. Zaven Collins, former first-round pick. He's been okay, not great. You look at his numbers, like 5 sacks last year was the best he's done in his career, but I expected more out of Zaven Collins when he entered the NFL. 3.5 sacks in 2023, 2 in 2022. You know, I think he's a decent football player, but he's just not great. And, you know, it all depends on the price. Like, if I can get him for next to nothing, I might be willing to take a chance. But I don't think that's something that you have to do if you're Kansas City. I think the defense is actually in a pretty good spot ahead of 2025, and that's not even counting the rookies that you expect to develop and everything. So am I opposed? No. Does it have to happen? Also no. Should the Chiefs trade for Zaven Collins? Type Y for yes, in for no. Sound off in the comments section. Tell me if you think they should make a move for Collins or not. Let me know. Aiden Gibson writes in, who's your favorite Chiefs player? Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is the answer. But if I can't say Patrick Mahomes, if I take 15 and 87 out of the equation here, I'm becoming a big Trent McDuffie fan. The Duff Man. I love the way he plays. He's got that dog in him. He does so many little things right. It is hard not to like Trent McDuffie's game. And people around the league, outside of Kansas City, are appreciating and noticing what Trent McDuffie's doing. Trent McDuffie would probably be my next choice. If I can't say 15 or 87. I love me some Trent McDuffie. I hope he's here for many years to come. Ox writes in, how are we going to attack the NFL this year? Well, a number of ways. The receiving game is going to stretch the field vertically more than we've seen in quite some time with Worthy and Brown and Rice and Royals and all that. I think the passing attack is going to be lethal. I think the offensive line is going to be improved. I think that the pass rush is going to be fantastic. Hopefully King Felix finally wakes up. Charles Omenihu is still around, along with Chris Jones and George Karlaftis. They're going to attack teams in a number of ways. I think the secondary is going to play a big role in that. We mentioned McDuffie. I love the corners. You got plenty of options with Christian Fulton entering the fold. You also have, guys like Noel Williams who are coming in, who had 7 interceptions at Cal last year. You're going to be able to attack teams in a variety of different ways. 2 more questions. Loren writes in, what's your thoughts on Royals? Is he going to start? How amazing was his work in OTAs? Was really impressed, as good as reported. Yeah, he was great. I don't know if he's necessarily a starter. He'd have to beat out Hollywood Brown to do that, but it's not impossible. But I do think he'll play a significant role in this offense, Loren. And I think you'll see his role kind of increase as the year goes along. And especially if there's an injury of sorts, they're going to be calling on Royals right away to step into that role. So, yes, I have high hopes for Jaylen Royals, and then he's going to be really good for a long time. Minshew, how is he looking in OTAs with a real class of receivers that are fast and accurate? I think he means to say Minshew, Gardner Minshew. I haven't heard much about Gardner Minshew, to be honest with you, but I'm not worried about Gardner Minshew. He's a backup, very experienced backup. He's done a good job as a backup in the past. Gardner Minshew, hopefully we don't have to hear from him much this year at all, but if he needs to spot start a game or two, I think Chiefs offense can be fine. If he has to start a lot of games, then that could be an issue. Subscribe now to the Kansas City Chiefs Report for continuing Chiefs coverage. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.